The House of Wolves DLC is coming closer and closer to its release date, and once more, Bungie has decided to tease more of what will be found in the DLC package. I'm once again Relic42, known on YouTube and the BNet community, and today I'll be going over the Twitch livestream of the Prison of Elders gameplay that was teased today. Now, Bungie didn't tease much, and they weren't able to fully complete one set of the Prison of Elders. It was Professor Broman from the Twitch community, and Deej, as well as Matt Salmons. Now, the lore behind the Prison of Elders is that all the enemies of the Reef are placed in this prison called the Prison of Elders. So there's areas that are going to have Hive, Cabal, Fallen, and Vex. The area covered within the Twitch stream was Hive and Cabal themed, so you only found areas that involved the Cabal and Hive. Now, Varix, who was found at the Reef prior, who's part of the House of Judgment, is the Warden of the Prison of Elders. And as you progress through, he's a voice in your comms that tells you the enemies of the Reef that you'll be fighting against, as well as announces critical objectives, which I will get to in a moment. Now, in order to access Prison of Elders itself, you'll need to complete all the story missions within the House of Wolves. So assuming you do so, you go click on the Reef from the directory, and right there you'll find a level 28 arena match-made activity called the Prison of Elders, which you can get Cryptarch, engrams, House of Judgment awards, etc. However, there are higher tier difficulties that need a pre-made fire team in order to complete. These include light levels that go up from 32 to 34, including 35. With the level cap being 34, the highest difficulty is 35, which will be quite a challenge for Guardians to try and complete. The ones that they showcased on the menu screen were called Broken Legion, Skullus' Revenge, and Urok's Grudge. In these, there are different bosses, enemies, challenges, as well as rewards such as House of Judgment gear, something called an Armor Core, something called a Weapon Core, Etheric Light, and so on. Now, these rotate on a weekly basis, and all of them run on the weekly reset. In the beginning, you start at an airlock. You have to complete every round for victory. There are a total of 5 rounds, and at the last round will be a boss round. They did not get to round 5, but round 5 will contain a boss. You travel to various rooms each round, and each room has a theme of enemies, a unique area, objectives, as well as buffs or debuffs to your Guardian. What's most notably found within these rooms are spider grenades. These are proximity grenades that when you walk across, it will create a spiderweb bubble that slows you. Now, you can preemptively destroy these proximity grenades, but if you're not careful, it could definitely be detrimental to your team. The first wave that the team encountered was a Hive-like arena versus the Hive. If your teammates died, there's a 30-second timer wait in order to revive them, and if everyone is wiped, you have to start back at the round that you were previously at. So the checkpoints are round-based. If you're on round 2 and you fail, you don't start back at round 1. You'll start at the beginning of round 2. The enemies come in waves. From what they've shown, it's been 3 waves. For the harder challenge modes, they said that you don't necessarily need a fire team. You could go and try to do it solo or with just another person and not a full fire team. However, they highly recommend that you have a full fire team with you. Now, the challenge modes they named before, Urok's Grudge, Skullus' Revenge, and Broken Legion, these are presets with a designated theme and challenges. However, there are more that are going to be rotated within the weekly reset. So far, we've only seen 3, and each week there'll be a new challenge previous from the last that we will have to take on. It may seem like a horde mode with different difficulty modifiers, but there are also critical objectives. Varix will announce an objective that you must complete. For example, in one instance, there were mines that had to be defused. You had to stand in the zone like if it was Control in the Crucible, and it was faster to defuse if everyone was present within the circle. There was also a VIP critical objective where you had a level 35 VIP that had 4 checkpoints around the room, and you had to prevent them from reaching each checkpoint. This VIP, once again, is level 35 and can regenerate health if you do not kill it fast enough. Varix will also present gifts. Gifts can include such weapons like the Scorch Cannon. The Scorch Cannon was this giant rocket with a third-person view in which if you held the trigger after it fired, it would turn the rockets into proximity mines that could also stick to surfaces as well as enemies. And the longer that you held it, the more the timer charged and the more powerful the explosion became. They also showed gifts being presented as heavy ammo, and we do not know at the moment if there are other gifts within the rotation. Now, at the beginning of various rounds, there will be a modifier in place. The modifiers that were explained or shown were your standard arc burn, in which your guardian does more arc burn damage with his or her weapons, but the enemy does more arc damage to you. This was present within a room full of hive, and since the majority of the hive weaponry consisted of arc-based damage, it proved to be quite difficult. There was another buff called small arms, in which your primary weapons were quote-unquote favorable. This was a buff to your primary weapons. They did extraordinary amounts of damage compared to your secondary or your heavy weapons. A buff or debuff, depending on how you want to view it, that was talked about was Brawler, in which melee damage was specifically increased. So melee damage was prioritized, and the last debuff or buff that they went through was called Exposure, in which the shields were increased, but they would regenerate slowly. Health regen at the 1/3 point of your health bar normally, but the remainder of your shields would trickle upwards. However, you would be able to take a massive amount of damage from the oncoming forces, so it was a give-take sort of buff. There was also a new gun revealed called Vestian Destiny, which was a fast-firing arc pistol, and I specifically say pistol because it acted more like a pistol than a heavy hand cannon. It was an arc pistol, it was fast-firing with controllable recoil, and it seemed to be an interesting weapon, quite different than the other hand cannons because it was a pistol. Now, overall, they got up to round 4, but they could not succeed past this point due to the arc burn and the hive room. It seems that it will require a great amount of effort between your fire team and yourself to communicate what to do, how to take on objectives, where to be, and you have to do this all under pressure of constant wave after wave of enemies. Now, we did not experience what the loot will be, but the loot is dropped after you complete round 5 or you complete the challenge. So that is yet to be revealed. Overall, you could argue that it's a glorified horde mode. However, they did provide specific challenges within the challenge itself, which is already not terrifying, but surmountable with only the cooperation of 2 of your friends. And we know that level 35 is the highest challenge. We know that this will be the coup de grace of the Prison of Elders. It will be the hardest challenge to complete and will surely have the best rewards out of the PvE portion of the DLC. Anyway, that is all the Prison of Elders. I couldn't give you the live stream verbatim due to copyright issues. However, I could record my gameplay over it and present it to you within the background so you could get an idea of what to expect come May 19th. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm excited. Seems like other people were excited, and they're more interested to see what will be presented within the DLC itself. As always, I'm Relic42, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.